Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over some more simple high ground retakes in Fortnite that pretty much anyone can do. You guys have seemed to really enjoy the other videos I've made like this, and I believe that's because a lot of you are console players, and most of the super advanced high ground retakes are just really difficult to do on 60 FPS. So the retakes you see in this video are all going to be fairly basic with minimal editing and advanced building involved, but at the same time, they should also protect you fairly well. Probably not as much as the more complicated retakes, but again, you're giving up a little bit of protection for a lot more simplicity, and that's a trade that many players will make any day of the week. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first high ground retake that we're going to cover is called the Simple Cone Turn, and even though it literally has simple in its name, I still think that's a bit of an understatement, and you'll see why in a second. So you want to start this one off by scissor ramping, and then once your bottom and top ramps are at an equal height, place a cone to connect them. From there, it's as simple as looking down, connecting a floor to the bottom of the ramp you're currently on, and then continuing your scissor ramp to either the left or right side. And in case slow-mo didn't do the simplicity of it justice, here's some regular speed footage for you. So that right there may legitimately be the easiest protected high ground retake you'll ever find. And since it's so simple, it's ridiculously easy to chain 4 or 5 of these in a row, and that constant change of direction will be really hard for an enemy on high ground to follow. The other important positive of that retake is that much like with side jumps, it's pretty much equally as simple to go either to the left or right side once you place the initial cone. So if you constantly alternate scissor ramping in each direction, it's going to make you even harder to track, which is actually really important when doing high ground retakes. Retake number 2 is a slightly more difficult but better overall version of the simple cone turn I just showed you. So I guess you can call it the regular cone turn or something like that. You're going to start the exact same way by scissor ramping up, but this time instead of placing the cone to connect the 2 ramps, you instead want to place it above the ramp over your head, then you look down and place the floor above the ramp you're running on instead of below it, and then you're good to continue scissor ramping in either direction. So here's some clips of me chaining this retake together at full speed, and we'll talk a bit more about it in a second. So even though the general mechanics of this are very similar to the simple cone turn, this one is better for one main reason. Since you place the cone above your top ramp instead of in front of it, it doesn't block you from continuing to sprint forward, and that enables you to place your floor above the ramp instead of below it. So now when you're changing directions, you're going to be doing so from the top of a ramp instead of the bottom of it, which basically is an entire extra level of height. And that's obviously important because it makes you that much more likely to beat your opponent to high ground and not get blocked off on the way up. The next high ground retake I want to cover is probably the easiest possible ramp flip retake. Flipping ramps to change direction while attempting to get high ground is a super popular technique that's used in a lot of advanced retakes. Now obviously most of those super crazy double-edit ramp flips are ridiculously hard to do unless your mechanics are insane, but I believe this basic ramp flip is something that most players will be able to learn with just a little bit of practice. So again, you want to start with a good old reliable double scissor ramp, and as you're going forward, you want to look pretty much straight up, place a cone above your upper ramp, and then another one connected to the front of it. Then, right before you run into the second cone you just placed, turn around, edit, and flip the ramp you're currently on. Then you do a super simple front 2-tile edit on the cone that's now blocking you, and you're good to go. And here's some more quick footage of it in action. So there's two main things that I really like about this one. First off, for how simple it is, it's actually very protected. You're placing a cone directly above you and also one in front of you, so it cuts off most shooting angles that an enemy can have from high ground. The other thing I like is the fact that this retake changes your direction 180 degrees when most retakes only change it by 90 degrees. When you start spamming retakes, most players are going to expect you to either keep going forward or go left/right, so when you bust this one out and start ramping in the totally opposite direction, it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise. Now, I will admit that unless you absolutely master this, it probably isn't as fast or smooth as some of the other retakes, but because you're so protected, I really don't think that's a huge deal breaker. Our next high ground retake is another version of my personal favorite retake in all of Fortnite, the Thwifo Cone spam. I showed the original Thwifo Cone before in one of my previous videos like this, and it's definitely one of the most popular retakes in all of Fortnite because it's super protected, pretty simple to spam over and over again once you learn it, and unlike most retakes, you don't need to be scissor ramping to do it. The version I'm about to show involves one extra piece being placed and a super simple edit, but it's still really easy as a whole, and it's also a lot more protected than the regular Thwifo Cone spam. So the start is exactly the same. You want to ramp up and then place 4 walls in the order that you see in the clip. After that, place the regular Thwifo Cone above your head and then another one connected in front of it towards the direction you're ramping in. Finally, simply edit through the 2 front tiles of that cone and you're good to keep single or double ramping up. And here's some footage of this retake and what it looks like at normal speed. So I think it's fair to say that this retake is at least a little bit more intermediate than the first 3 I've shown, but honestly, I still think it's a piece of cake compared to most retakes I see on other people's basic or easy high ground retake videos. Now, the obvious positive of this compared to the regular Thwifo Cone is the extra cover that the second cone you place gives you. I'll mainly use this one over the regular Thwifo Cone spam when I'm not really sure the exact angle of where the enemy is, or if there are multiple enemies shooting at me from high ground. The final retake in this video is a simplified version of one of FaZe Sway's most popular retakes. I actually showed that specific retake in the first video I made like this. It's the one where you double edit a floor and cone to the side and then you connect a floor and ramp to what you just edited. And even though I mentioned in that video that it was a bit more advanced than the other ones I showed, I still saw a lot of comments that kinda roasted me for including that one in a quote-unquote simple high ground retakes video. But now it's time for me to redeem myself by showing you guys a similar but much more simple version of that retake, and this one only uses a very simple single edit instead of a double edit. So you want to start off by scissor ramping like with the majority of retakes, then you're going to place a cone directly on top of the ramp above you, connect a ramp to the side of that cone, then a floor to the side of the cone under the ramp, and finally a ramp connected to the floor you just placed. Once you've done that, you want to run up the ramp, do a super simple side 2-tile edit through the floor, and then continue scissor ramping up. So now here's some footage of me doing it at a bit more of a normal speed. So I think it's fair to say that this is definitely the hardest retake in the entire video, and you probably even saw me kinda mess it up once or twice, but it's also without a doubt the most unpredictable and protected. And when I was first learning how to do this one, I was kinda like, I don't know, I'm probably gonna mess this one up a ton, but even after only practicing it for like 5 to 10 minutes, I started to really get the hang of it. Plus, it's actually really smooth to chain a bunch of these in a row, just like the more advanced Sway retake. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Out of all the retakes I showed in this video, which one would you be most likely to use when you play? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.